welcome to You Can Do It. Today we're looking at Dudley Pushflo Pinto cisterns, and the one in here we need to replace. It's 26 years old, and there's a bit of a leak behind here, which we've sort of temporarily sorted out with a bit of plumber's mate, but I want to put a proper new one in. So this video is about how to change that Pinto valve and everything, cistern, when you can't really get to this unit. So it's not an easy one to get to. So follow this video if you want to see how to get to that in a difficult situation. So let's get straight to the chase. So I'm going to take this off and we will get to behind here. Behind here, that's the unit. Look, you can see that. And we have cleaned it because I've had to take it all apart just to sort of stop it dripping. It was dripping and temporarily sort it out. But the main problem is, look, the everything's under here and you can't get to it. It's a bloody nightmare. Okay, so the first thing you need is a torch and, more importantly, a big pair of these adjustable grips, and they need to go up to, I think it's about at least 7 or 8 centimeters. They need a good 70 mil so you can get hold of the things. Okay, so these units actually, before we start, these units came with 2 different types. So you can have it like it is at the moment, or it has this bowl in it. Now that bowl actually reduces the amount of water that goes into the flush. Really bad design on these, because what happens is the seal gets caught up in that and it's just a mess. So I would just suggest taking that out, get yourself a decent flush. Anyway, so we're in this situation here now. So first thing to do is we're going to turn off the water supply, which is down there. So that's a little ball valve. So we'll turn that off. And then we'll do a flush and we'll just check to see whether any water comes out there. If no water comes out of there, then we can get to it. Now if you have that bowl, when you flush this, I'll show you in a minute. Right, look, we've got the ball valve down here. So let me just turn that so that it's in 90 degrees across there. To check that that's working, what we'll do is we'll flush it. And your water's going to go down. And now we're just going to see whether or not any more water's coming out of the thing, and it's not. So that's totally turned off. Now if you've got the bowl in there, the plastic bowl in there, you're going to have a lot of water. It's going to be up to here. So what you do then, to make your life easier, is you can get the one from the new one or one from the old one, but you get that pipe and you use it as a siphon. So you put that in the water, up into one of the corners, and then suck it, put your thumb over the end when it's full of water, turn it out and put it down into the bath. Now it's got to, obviously the end's got to be lower than the level there, otherwise it won't siphon, and then that'll siphon. And if you just leave that, that'll siphon that all out so that there's no water in it, because you want to get that completely dry, because when we start undoing everything, the water will then sort of, if we don't do that, the water will sort of piss all over the concrete in the wall behind it. The next thing we can do is these Pinto valves, they just clip like that, clip it out. Look, now that rubber seal can go. You buy another seal. Now if that seal's gone, what will happen is it won't seal, and what will happen is you'll have constantly water dripping into the toilet bowl there, or stored into there. But you can buy that, but they're about £5. You might as well just buy a whole thing here, which is like 20. I paid about 29 quid. £30 delivered. So yeah, might as well just treat yourself time-wise. Right, so we've got that off there. So I'm just going to chuck that into there like that. Okay. So now what we've got is this. And now what I need to do, look, I've still got some water down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to siphon that out with my little siphon, so that's all nice and dry. Alright, so it's just down there, touching the bottom. Put those there to keep it low, and we've got it coming out here like that. It's not particularly fast because it's a very narrow pipe, but there's not a lot of water in there. So I'm going to leave that like that. And then while that's doing that, this is what arrived. This is the whole kit going. I'll get a whole complete new kit. So I'll get everything in that. And it's this bit here. And I'll show you what the problem has been with the old one. Right, while that's siphoning out there, I'll show you. So this is the old seal, look. And this has gone absolutely rock hard. And it had split. So this is the old seal. So I'll show you what the problem was, where it was leaking. So look. This is the bit that clamps up with a seal to the bottom of the cistern, and then the pipe, the flush pipe, goes in there. So it's this seal here that we've got the problem with. There we are. That seal there, look. That has been the problem. So this seal is like the original seal. Look, and it's flexible and soft. And that one has gone hard over time or something. It's gone rock hard. And obviously it wasn't sealing, and what was happening was water was dripping from here, but also water was dripping from here a little bit because of that bowl thing. When it was installed originally, this rubber seal here had got caught on that bowl somehow, because it's a really difficult fit to actually install it. That's why we reinstalled it without the bowl, and then it all seals up fine. Okay, so then this needs to come off here like that. There. So that's the sealing ring, and then here, so you've got that seal. So normally that goes in like that, and that bowl sits between this seal and there, and sort of freely rotates. But the trouble is, there's too much movement like that, so sometimes the bowl can get caught under here and not sealed properly. So it's easy to put it back, forget about that bowl, and just stick it in like that. So what the problem we've got as well was that I found that was bust, and I used another seal from just some sort of normal duct pipe like that. There's a rubber seal there. In fact, I'll take that out and then you can see what I'm talking about. So I use that seal instead, but the only trouble is this seal here, look, is I put my hands like that, look. Seal is a lot bigger. So what actually happened was, when you put this on like that, it meant that there's only a few threads. Look, if you look, there's only a few threads there, and because it was thicker, it pushed it further away. It means there was only a couple of threads connected, and if you did it a little bit too tight, it popped back, and it wasn't. You couldn't do it tight enough to actually really pull it up properly, so it was leaking. So what I've done temporarily is put some plumber's mate around the bottom here to seal it, but it's a sort of temporary thing, and it has been working. But we want to make sure we've done a professional job, which is why we've come back now. We've got the new one delivered, and we'll replace it. So that fits in there like that nicely, look, over your flush pipe, obviously, and then that goes in. And notice there isn't another. Normally you have a little ring around there, another ring. So what I'm actually going to do with there is just run a little bit of Vaseline, just so that this rotates on that edge there. Because you don't want that to like bind up on it. It can bind up on this and sort of try and pull it. Alright, so let's go and check on the see how this is getting on. Still flushing out. There's still a little bit of water coming out of there, look. What is in there here? No, that's basically a little tiny bit in there. So we'll just let that run for a couple more minutes, and then I'll put a little rag in there and just dry that out. It's all dry in there, and this is a great opportunity to take all of you get lots of bits of calc and shit in there, just clean all that and vacuum that out so that's all nice and clean. Okay, so now the next thing we can do is undo the first one under here. Alright, and I'll undo that by hand. I'll put the camera down there, the video down there, and you can see what we're talking about. Okay, so this is what we're going to take off now. We're going to undo this one here. I'm going to get around there. Now you see I've put some plumber's mate around there to stop it leaking, which we're now going to undo this and do it properly. Right, look, we've got that off there. You see that there? That's all covered in plumber's mate. It's a right mess. We're going to take that right off in a minute. Now the difficult thing about this is, look, is we now need to undo that big black one underneath here to get this loose. And it's a bit of a chicken and the egg, because you need to loosen that to be able to get the thing, so that you can then actually get this pipe down a bit, because it hasn't got, if you look, the pipe's right up here, so you haven't got enough space to pull that out down there, so we just loosen that off. So what I'm now doing is loosening that big one there. Okay, once that's loose, then you can normally just hold the nut and just go. That's the old one out. So obviously just double check that we've got talking the right thing, which we are. So we're good to start reinstalling this one. Okay, don't do the schoolboy error of putting this one back on there before you take the old ring off. Now I'm going to leave that seal on this just as a spare, because that'll do for a spare. So I'm just going to leave that there, so that's always there if needed. The new one here, we're going to put the white one on first, and then we'll slide this one on. Now I've just put a tiny little bit of Vaseline on the bottom edge of that, just so that when I'm turning this, it doesn't grip this rubber too tightly. I only want a little bit because Vaseline on your rubber is not good long term. But anyway, put this one on here first. So what we have to do is push this pipe down just a tiny bit. I need 2 hands of that. I'll push it down a little bit just to get it on. Got the rings on there, so now I'm going to slide this ring, obviously the pointy bit on the top, and we'll put that ring on there, look. Look at that. That's good, and then what I'll do is I'll just pull that down a bit. I'll just pull it down like that. There we are. And that will come up there, look. That sits in there nicely. Okay, so we'll just pull that down a bit. Right, so now what we can do, so now I'm actually going to use this old ring because it's a bigger ring, and it seems to be a little bit better plastic actually. It's not quite as loose as this one here. Looks a lot more brittle. It's a bit more malleable, this one. So we're now going to undo this one. Now we obviously got to get that black one over the top of that there. So right, the black piece is there now. So now what we can do there is make sure that's all clean here. Make sure there's no bits of shit in there because that will cause that seal to. So we'll just get a bit of drop there. Wipe that nice and clean. Yeah. So now we take the new one with our new seal on. Put that there. And now we can put that down there. And we'll have to put the bit on the bottom there, and we'll start turning it. Yeah, that seal there is nice and flat there. Right, so let's put this down here like that, and at the same time we need to bring that black one up there and start screwing it on the bottom. So you need to line it so that those are either there or there, that way or that way, because these have got like spigots at like 45 degrees all the way around, so it doesn't really matter where you do it. So we're going to do it like that. So I've done it like that, it's sort of hand tight underneath, and now we're going to get the spanners on there and give it a bit of a crank. But you've got to make sure that this doesn't spin when we crank it, so we need to hold this and then we just tighten it up underneath. This old one, you can see where I've missed and got my sort of grips on the actual thread, which is really not good. So you need to be really careful to make sure you just grip that and not that when you're trying to tighten it up. We'll go back down there and we'll tighten that up. Right, we've tightened that up there, the black one, so don't go stupidly tight. Now we've got this seal here. Now we need to push this up here so it fits in underneath, but we need to just get our camera on our phone and just check. So I'll show you what we're trying to do. Trying to do is make sure that we haven't got it where this edge is going on the outside. So basically it's rubbery, yeah? So it's got to go, everything's got to go in. You can see that it's got to go in there like that. If it goes to the outside, when you crank it up, it's going to go over the top. So we've got to make sure it's all pushed up on the insides, because if your pipe is close, is like really tight on one side and really loose on the other, obviously the other side the rubber will go in, but this side it might end up getting pushed over the top. So we need to make sure that pipe's in the middle of the hole and make sure we get that seal. So I'm going to do that with my fingers and then I'll take a video and you can see what I mean. Okay, you see that? It looks like it's in all the way around. Way to test it, so like make sure that you've sort of got an even black all the way around there, and then you know that that seals in. So then what we can do is put this back up and tighten it up. I've done that up now, hand tight. So what we can do now to test it, rather than undo that valve, which is a bit of a pain in the arse to do it back up again, I'm just going to get a bottle of water and we're going to chuck some water in there. And then what we can start doing is feeling to see if we've got any water coming out here. Okay, now obviously I've got a towel and a bowl there just in case, because I don't want it to obviously go down there and wet the slab and the wall. I've poured 2 bottles down in there. Now what that will have done is just gone all around there, and we'll see. So now what we can do is have a dry hand, because you might have water and everything on it. Dry your hand, and we'll have a look under there and see if there's any, with our hands, and see if there's any. If you're ever in doubt, use some of this like blue paper here. Right, wipe it around here now. Right, so we wipe that around there. There's no water drops on there at all. Yeah, it's completely dry. So then what we'll do is we'll put the this is the new cistern in and everything. We'll run it and we'll see if we do that again with that. We get any drops, then we know we've got some sort of leak, don't we? Okay, so let's go to our nice bag here. Look at that. I really like it when you get some new stuff. Look. So here, the great thing about these cisterns. Well, so that's the new one. That's the old one. Now you can adjust it here for different heights. What I'm going to do is count the number of holes I've got on the old one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So it needs to go down 2 notches. Squeeze that tab and that tab, and then you can move that. So we wanted 11, didn't we? 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. Okay, that's the same setup, right? We've got a new valve on there now. So what we can do now, the great thing about these Dudleys is you just literally pop that in there like that. Pop it in there like that. And click it, and it's in place. Now we'll just make sure that that pipe is pushed in there properly. And then we're going to have to just connect it up to this one. So we pull this one out, put the new one in. It's always nice to have some nice clear cable. It shows you how old that is. That's about 26 years old. Okay, so we've got a cable there, and we've pulled the one out of there. So we now need to push that one back in there, but I need 2 hands for that. So I'm going to leave that like that. Well, you can obviously cut that and make it the perfect length, but we're just going to leave that like that. Sometimes there's a sort of equivalent diaphragm like that in here, so that can go, and these come out really, really slowly. So you push it and it's stuck, and then it comes back out. But you can get hold of these as well if you need to. Okay, so now what we can do is let's go and turn the water supply on back down there. See how we get on. Remember, we're going to wipe the rag under there once we use it a few times. I've left that one there just because that's a spare seal should anything ever happen. Let's do a flush. Off the tree, and then what we want to, once it's done the largely finished and everything, I'm going to wipe that underneath and see if we get anything out. I mean, there might be a bit of condensation under there, but shouldn't be because I wiped it all clean now. We'll just see. So I'm going to leave that bowl there just in case, because if there is any water overnight, it will run down the pipe and drop into the bowl. And if that's dry in the morning, we've done a good job. Right, let's get our little cloth. Wipe it all around underneath here. All the connections and everything. And it's dry. No water anywhere. So I think we've done it. So we'll leave that overnight. Always leave it overnight and double check. Don't just disappear because you never know. And then I hope this video has been helpful. Shows you how to change it and everything. If you like the channel, subscribe. Any comments, send me a comment. And just remember the most important thing. You can do it.